أمي صار ناسينه 거짓말. 아, أمي 아말로다 피아비 켈리야트르.
Good morning, all. So today I'm going to do a lecture or a short talk actually on how to pass the ERPM exam, ERPM Part A. Remember, this is not ERPM Part B or C. It is mainly concentrating on ERPM Part A. That is your theory component. So, like how to 100% like securely, like what is the easiest pathway to approach this exam. Why I am telling this is because I am a teacher in medical school, medical college. For the undergraduate students, I am a teacher for the registrars, the postgraduate trainees. I am also an examiner for final MBBS local graduates as well as ERPM exam. So therefore, I know what is exactly being tested in the exam and what are the components that you have to study in the exam. Unwanted areas you don't have to study, only the necessary part that you have to cover, the essential part that you have to cover for a definite pass in the exam. So in this short talk, what I'm trying to emphasize is what is this ERPM exam, how the exam is being set up, what are the components of the exam, and what is the easiest method. Like, this is a ball game, guys. It's a ball game. Like, like some students might think, okay, I'm going to study everything in medicine or everything in surgery, everything in gynecology, everything in pediatrics, and I'm going to sit for the exam. But then it doesn't work. Sometimes they might even fail, end up with a failure in the exam. But some guys, they will exactly study. Oh, good morning. I'm in the lecture. Can you call me? Yeah, can you call me later? So, but some clever students, what clever students they do is they study the exactly necessary components for any exam, not only medicine, surgery, gynecology, obstetrics, anything. The exactly necessary components that is essential for you to pass the exam, what the questions, like the past paper questions and also the other relevant questions that has been questioned in the exam, they will cover that part. And also they will train themselves how to pass the exam, how to deal with the questions in a very easy method, very easy manner, and then go to the exam with 100% confidence. That's what we want, isn't it? Because, guys, ultimately it's our confidence which gives us the 100% victory. Because if we are 100% confident, right, if we are 100% confident, we know we are going to pass the exam, right? So confidence is the most important thing. Like some students, like, I mean, whatever the amount they study, still they struggle during the exam. So just the knowledge and the exam, passing an exam are two different things. It's very important to understand. So today this. So it's very important to understand the essential components of the exam. What is the minimum amount of information? What is the minimum thing that you got to study? And from that, like if you know the minimum stuff, how can you pass the exam? That is what we need to do. Guys, in my classes, I always encourage my students, don't wait just getting an average pass mark. Don't just get average pass mark and try to get through this exam, because your entire future is going to depend on the merit position of this exam, right? Because like even the hospital you are going to get, whether you are going to get because the favorite subjects are medicine and surgery. Throughout it's like that. Even when we were interns, like we always struggle to get the medicine and surgery appointment. So everyone wants medicine and surgery. So to get medicine and surgery, you have to get a better position. So how to do that, you need to uh, understand. So guys, yeah, okay. So guys, now passing this exam is a different ball game. So you have to do it in a very intelligent manner. So my talk today is how to focus a definite victory in ERPM part A, the theory component. Once you pass the theory component, I will, or little later, I will do what is part B and part C. But today we are focusing on part A, the theory component. So as I told you before, I have been an examining the ERPM exam. I have given questions for the question bank, and also as a clinical component examiner. So I know what they exactly ask in the exam, right? So what is this ERPM medicine exam? So all of you all know what is ERP. That is eligibility required to practice medicine in Sri Lanka. That is like when you are coming from abroad, yeah, like to get qualified in Sri Lanka, you have to sit for this exam. Say for example, if you are going to work in UK, you have to do PLAB. If you are going to work in the States, you have to do the USMLE, and you have if you are going to work in Australia, you have to do AMC. It's just like that. So I'm going to talk about the internal medicine component. So internal medicine is one of the most important components of this ERPM exam, right? Among the 4 subjects, the internal medicine becomes the most important, and compared to the other 4 subjects, little difficult subject. Why? The medicine has the biggest syllabus. It has a vast area, a huge area to cover, and that is the little difficult subject compared to all the other subjects, right? But we make it really easy. We make it a palatable subject for all the students, and we make it a definite passable subject for all the students. So internal medicine is been questioned in part A, your theory component, MCQ and SBA paper. The part B, the long case and the short case, and part C, that is your Viva. In all that, medicine needs to be tested so that you can understand what an important subject internal medicine is. So part A, coming back to part A, today's talk, is the theory component where we test a student's knowledge on the essential areas in internal medicine. So in the theory component, you will be getting 25 MCQs and also 25 single best answer questions, right? And you are given a period of 2.5 hours. You are given a period of 2.5 hours. And what is the minimum mark to pass an exam? Usually most of the other exams in the world, like say if you take PLAB or AMC, you need to get a pass mark of 50%. But in Sri Lanka, so far so good. So far so good, because this is not like some time back, because I have been teaching the medical students, ERPM students for almost now 14, 15 years. Since I was a small intern, I have been teaching. So even I have taught students, those who were like older to me. So since I was an intern, I have been teaching. It's in my cells, genes. So I know initially when we did the Act 16 exam, initially it was called Act 16, and then students have to score 50%. Initially the pass mark was 50, but now is good, guys. You all are lucky. You all have to score only 45 in each component to qualify for the second round. That is your clinical component or ERPM part B. So if you get 45, you go through to the second component. So guys, that's why so today I really want to brainwash you to say that, because some people arbitrarily say this is a difficult exam. No, I say it is not the case. Trust me, I want to brainwash you and tell this is an easy exam, because as an examiner, it's a true exam of the ERPM exam. I know this is an easy exam. So trust me, right? Why I'm telling that getting 45 marks is nothing. Trust me, the word I'm using, nothing. Getting 45 marks is nothing, guys. I'll tell you why it's nothing, right? At the end of the lecture, you will realize, you will be 100% with me for telling this statement, right? Now, guys, so there are 25 MCQs and 25 single best answer questions. And from the whole component, that is whatever the mark you get for MCQ, whatever the mark you get for SB, it doesn't matter, right? What you have to get a total is 45 out of 100, 45%, right? To secure pass. Easily achievable target. So you have the single best answer, best of 5. And so I have done a calculation for you, right? Look at this, guys. When you see this, it is shocking easy, isn't it? So look at this. and then you will say, my God, is this an exam? It's not worth an exam, right? Look at this. The single best answer paper, right? There are 25 questions and you don't get any minus marks for that. If you just get 12 out of 25, because why I do this calculation is because I was an examiner. So we know what areas students score more and what areas students are not scoring much, right? Or the weak areas of the students. So the single best answer paper, all what you have to do is just get 12 out of 25. So it is even less than 50%. If you get 12 questions of single best answer paper correct out of 25, still you get 48%. 48%, right? It's even above the pass mark. But guys, that is not the case. I will show you in my next slide what is the average amount of marks our students have scored in our classes. It's usually around 17, 18. Average is 17, 18, but most of the students, they get close to 20 out of 25. So if you get 17 or 18 out of 25, you get a score close to 68%. 68%. So I'm going to teach you the easiest pathway of passing this ERPM medicine component. Just go along with my pathway. It's very easy, guys, right? It's a definitely possible pathway, but just follow this. Blindly you follow this. I will tell you why you will, how and why you are going to be successful 100%. Now, if you score just 12, if you get just 12 out of 25 correct, you end up getting 48%. All right. But that is not the case. This is for the below average student. Trust me, because at examiner we have marked the answers. So I know, and we have tested question papers. And I know majority of students, even the below average student gets about 14 or 15. Even the below average student. So you guys are not below average. I mean, there may be one or two, but even the below average student gets around 12 or 13 out of 25. So this is a very easy target and nothing target, right? Single best answer paper. But that is not where we stand. My target is to train my students to get 20 out of 25 at a minimum. That is my target, and the minimum is 17 or 18 out of 25. Minimum is 17 or 18 out of 25, and that we are giving in the class. We give you the pathway, everything to achieve that. So that is 68%, because we should target a merit position or a D or very close to the merit position, right? Then guys comes the trickier one, that's the MCQ component. So in the MCQ component, to get a 45% mark, all what you need to do is just to get 57 responses correct out of 125. How did these 125 responses came? I told you in the MCQ paper there are 25 questions. There are 25 questions. In these 25 questions, so in every MCQ there are 5 responses. In every MCQ there are 5 responses, right? I hope I have shared the Zoom ID. Yeah, I hope most of the students have joined through Zoom, and also it's been live streamed on YouTube for anyone to watch. So, guys, the minimum mark you need to get is 57 responses, because I told you every MCQ has 5 responses. That is true or false type of questions. So in that, so 25 into 5 is 125. And among the 125 responses, if you just get 57 correct, if you just get 57 correct out of 125, it's even below the 50%. It's even below, because half of 125 is about 62 or 63. So it's even below that level. So you have to get only 57 responses correct out of the whole lot of 125 responses. So why did I call that MCQ is the tricky one? Because there are negative marks for a wrong answer. Only for a correct answer, you get only 1 mark. and for a negative, for a wrong answer, you get a negative mark. Right. So now you know the minimum standard. What is that? Single best answer paper, 12 out of 25, and the MCQ paper, 57 responses correct out of 125. Right. So how to achieve a pass mark effortlessly? So my next slide, I'm going to teach you how to achieve a pass mark effortlessly in the exam. Right? This is so important for the students, those who are going to sit for this very this exam coming nearby. That is the September exam, and also, guys, the students, those who are in the 5th year, the graduated ones, those who are going to sit for the ERPM exam in the year 2021, 2022, and the junior students, because exam pattern is going to be like this for next few years, 4-5 years. So how to achieve a pass mark effortlessly? Because your first goal is to pass the mark, and your second goal is to go for the merit. Right. So SPA paper, single best answer paper. Right. So getting 12 out of 25 correct is something, as I told you before, all students achieve. It's not difficult at all. All students achieve this. Getting 12 out of 25 correct. Even below average students. So this is my exam experience, because we have gone for the exam, we have set the exam questions, so we know that minimum standard have been achieved by majority of students. So majority of students, they have got 12 out of 25 correct. So it's easily achievable thing. So my target is not that. My target is to get 17 to 18 out of 25 correct, even more than that. But because the thing is, guys, in the single best answer paper, the questions that we discuss, like almost everything, if you ask your seniors, the questions that we discuss in the class, almost everything, like last time is 24 out of 25 came. It's not the same question, it's not the same words, it's not, but the same theme. In every single best answer question, there's a theme, right? We have been doing these questions, so you would have realized in my lectures, like more than anyone else, I can tell that very proudly. You can compare all the teachers in all the subjects, you can compare that and see, because in my lectures I do lots of questions, single best answer questions, MCQ questions. Guys, you need to practice your knowledge. What you learn, you need to practice. You need to put that into practice. Otherwise, no point just listening to what someone says. So always test your knowledge. What you learn, you must test your knowledge. That's very important. Right. The target in our single best answer question is paper is 70 to 18 to get that correct. Because if you get 70 to 18 correct, if you get 17 correct out of 25, you end up getting 68%. That's a way above the merit mark of 60%. It's way above the merit mark of 60%. So if you just get 17 correct out of 25, that's a huge thing. That means still you can get 8 questions wrong. Still you can get 8 questions wrong, and still you can end up with a high merit mark, right? Because even if you score little low in the MCQ paper, you can compensate for it, right? Right. So the average in our classes, like I have, tested my students. So average number of responses, our class students, what they get is 17, 18. So, but there are obviously much more than that. But average, what I'm saying is 17, 18, which is a 68% mark. So, and also, guys, in our lectures, we are mainly emphasizing on single best answer questions, because we are mainly emphasizing how to pass the single best answer questions. Now, when I teach also, I teach you, okay, now say, for example, I did my theory session 1, then I finished my infectious diseases, snake bites and toxicology. We did the endocrinology and diabetology, and we finished rheumatology and connective tissue diseases. In all those 3, I did the single best answer questions, almost 15 questions I have done in every topic, and also 15 to 20 MCQs also we have done. So in that, guys, when we teach, when we lecture, I tell you, this is a single best answer point, this is a MCQ point. So that should register in your memory when I tell like that. And when you are studying also, you have to focus on those areas mostly, because we all are human beings. We all can't study and remember everything under the sun. If we can do that, we are the supernatural people, aliens. None of us are like that. Even the lecturer who is teaching, that's myself, even getting the world highest qualifications, still I don't think I can study and remember everything in this world, right? So I don't think so. Even when we did all the exams that one could do in the world in internal medicine, still there are many more areas that I don't know. There are many more areas that I don't know. So that's why I am saying no one is a superman in this world. So guys, we need to study the essential things and somehow to secure pass mark, because guys, failing this exam is a crime. I always tell my students, failing this exam is a crime. Why? One thing, it's your parents' hope and wish for you to become a doctor very soon. They have spent so much of money on you. They have, done so much of sacrifices. So you need to fulfill their dreams and also your dream, because your time, your age is all that matters. Because if you fail the exam, at least one component, you have to wait for another 6 months to get the internship. And also, there are some internal things happening, like, these days, there are court cases coming up, and due to those things, the internship period might get even prolonged. So what I'm saying is, whenever you are given the opportunity, don't lose that opportunity. So pass this exam. So our target is first to secure pass mark, then to get the merit position. So single best answer questions, very important. We should somehow get 70 to 18 out of 25. We'll be training for that. Right. Then guys, I'm going to talk to you about the tricky MCQ component. Why am I always telling this is tricky? I'll teach you why it's tricky, because of the negative component. So guys, within a question, because when you get the MCQ step, there are 5 responses. There are 5 responses, right? I'll teach this and then I'll go back to the previous slide and I'll tell you the SBA methods, single best answer question methods. I will also take a paper and do a question, 1 or 2 questions with you and teach you the approach. Now, I'm going to tell you the MCQ, it's a tricky component. Why do I use the term tricky? Because of negative marks. Now, MCQ has 5 responses. So in that 5 responses, if you get a wrong mark, you get a minus mark for it. So basically you get -2, right? Minus mark means -2. So you have, say, for one question, you have answered 5 responses. And in that 5, only 3 are correct, 2 are wrong. 2 are wrong means the ultimate mark you are going to get is only 1. Now understand this logic. All the students, please understand this logic. If you answered 5 responses in a MCQ, and if only 3 out of those 5 that you have marked are correct, that means you are going to end up with only 1 mark for that question. Whereas, if you knew 3 very well, because those 3 you have got correct, but the other 2, they were half-hearted. You are not 100% sure. You just guessed and marked them, and you got it wrong. You just guessed it. So guys, you initially you knew 3 responses very well, but if you just stopped at that level, without answering all 5, you would have got 3 marks instead of 1 mark. You understand what I'm saying? So very important. It's very tricky. It's a mind game, guys. MCQ. It's difficult. It's a mind game. So you should not be too greedy, because trust me, any student answering more than, so among 125, if anyone is answering more than 115, very likely that student is going to fail the exam. Because because through as an examiner, I'm telling this as an examiner, because I know, like in my experience, there was one foreign graduate. Now, of course, he has done his postgraduate exams and he has become a registrar also. One of my students. He came to my class. He's a super bright student, right? He's a super bright student. One of the brilliant students. So, like not the medicine component, one of the components, like I won't tell the subject, one particular subject, he thought that it is very easy for him. Medicine, of course, he passed like brilliantly. I think he got the highest marks also. But one of the subjects, again, he went and answered about 120 out of 125 the MCQ paper. Single best answer paper, he got about 68% or 70%, something like that. But still, guys, MCQ paper, he answered 120 and he failed. So what is the consequence of that? Because after just he failed some other subject, but he had to wait for another 6 months to get his internship. So it's a crime, guys. So don't just haphazardly mark the MCQ paper. That can be your failure. That can be your killer. I would call it a killer. So I am telling you, answer the 100% accurate ones, like black and white type of answers, 100% accurate ones, where you have 100% confidence of answering that question, just answer them, right? So MCQ paper, you mark a minimum of 97 out of 125, even 95 is okay, right? Trust me, do this for me, you pass. You keep your whole life in my hands. Like I give that guarantee. You just answer 95 very sure responses. Guys, now this is not easy. 95 very sure responses. But why? For that you need to study, guys. If you think you just go and sit in a class and like plum pudding, you just listen like this, no, you won't pass the exams. People are telling such things, but you won't pass. Just because you hear something over and over again, you can't pass. You have to read. As an examiner, I'm telling you have to read the minimum stuff. So that's why I always say the lecture that I do, within 2 to 3 days, you just read it. I'm not asking you to buy heart that. I'm not asking you to memorize. Just read it. Because lecture what you hear, because here in the lectures we sort of feed you and we put it into your brain like intracerebral injections, right? So like that type of way we are giving you, right? So that type of teaching and information we are giving. So that within 2 to 3 days, if you just read it, that will retain in your memory very well. I'm also going to teach you the study techniques. Today, guys, nothing study material, nothing related to the subject, nothing on medicine. So this you can even use for your gynecology, and obstetrics, surgery, pediatrics, forensic medicine, combat, everything, psych, everything, right? Same pattern for every exam, same pattern, right? This is a universal lecture, guys, covering all the subjects, but particularly our emphasis on medicine, but covers everything. So this is a very valuable lecture. I don't know, like I mean, you will really love this. You might worship these slides. I'll share this with you afterwards. So if you mark 95 responses out of 125, you are in the driving seat, you are in the box seat, right? So why did I say like that? Guys, we answer 95 responses thinking they are 100% correct. That is, it's correct for yourself. What is correct for yourself may be wrong for the examiner, right? So that is what you think correct may be wrong for the examiner, right? That may not be 100% accurate. So guys, uh, even if we mark 95, and even if you get 20 responses wrong, right? Even if you get 20 responses wrong, then 20 minus 2, 20 to 2 is 40. So 95 minus 40 is 55 responses of roughly close to 57. So if you get 57 out of 125, that is 45%. If you get 57 out of 125, that is 45%. Even if you take 55 out of 125, that is 46%. So, sorry, 44%. So 44% with that 48% in the single best answer paper, still you easily pass the exam, guys. Right? Because 12 out of 25 in the single best answer paper is 48%. Still you pass the exam. I have calculated that for you. So guys, just 95 to 97 responses out of 125 is more than enough for you to pass this exam with a wonderful effort, right? So 57 out of 125 is 45%. Simple mathematics I have given that. What is that? What is the simple mathematics? Look at this slide. 20 questions. So you are given 25 MCQs in the paper. 20 questions, you answer 4 responses out of 5. I mean, there may be few questions where you can answer all 5 very easily. See, when they give a very simple question like, say, I'll show you 2018 ERPM, 2017 December ERPM paper, 2017 December ERPM paper. There was a question: which of the following are features of decompensated cirrhosis? Last question: which of the following are features of decompensated cirrhosis? And they gave A, parotid enlargement, B, they said ascites, C, they said flapping tremors, D, they said deep contraction, E, they said testicular atrophy or something like that. So only that ascites and flapping tremors correct. All the others are false. Why? So that is like bread and butter type of questions. Black and white type of answers are there. Either you know or you don't know. Like if you have read the topic on decompensated cirrhosis, where you can answer all 5 responses effortlessly. So there are certain questions where you can answer all 5 without any fear, without any difficulty. So there you can answer 4 out of 5 responses without any problem. So I mean, and also as I told you before, there will be few questions where you can answer all 5 out of all 5 responses in a question in the MCQ paper. So 20 questions, at least 20 questions target 4 out of 5 responses. You don't have, which means you don't have to target every response. Every question you don't have to target every response. At least 4. Minimum is 4. Every question try to answer 4 out of 5, which means half-hearted ones. Half-hearted ones where you are not sure, you are having doubts, leave it. You leave it for the second round because I have saved 15 minutes in the second round. So in the first round where you take about 75 minutes for that first round, 1 hour and 15 minutes, in that you answer the very accurate ones, and every question try to get at least 4, but some questions there will be only 3 where you can answer. So 4 out of 5 responses means 80. Then guys, 5 questions you can answer 3 out of 5. 5 questions you can answer just 3 out of, they may be the difficult questions. The difficult questions you will be in a position to answer only 3 out of 5, and still you end up answering 15. So guys, 80 plus 15 is 95. So 95 responses, and according to my calculation, even if you get 20 wrong out of that 95, right? Because you know you are answering guys 100% accurate ones, 100% confident ones. So if you are 100% confidence, very likely you are going to get all that correct. But even if you give allowance for 20 incorrect answers, 20 wrong answers, still guys, you end up getting 45 out of 125, which is 44%, which is 44%. So MCQ paper, you have got 44%, and the single best answer paper, just 12 out of 25, even less than half, 12 out of 25, that means you have got 48%. So you are done. You are done with the exam, right? So hooray situation, isn't it? You are in the box seat. Right. So in other words, in our classes, we make the below average student a definite passable student, right? Why? 12 out of 25 is below average. 45 out of 125 is just slightly below average. So even that below average student, we get to the definitely passable state. Trust me. And also the average student, because as an examiner, I'm telling these things, not just as someone just dreaming of things. As an examiner, I'm telling with examining experience. Average student, we will definitely guide to get a merit position, which we can do. Right. And also, guys, when you answer in this paper, it's a time game. So I will also share this, slide presentation in your WhatsApp groups, because this is a hugely important thing. You have to keep this very carefully until the day you pass the exam. Theory component, so important, because I have done the calculations for you. I have done the time calculations for you. Now the very important slide. Concentrate very carefully. What is this time game? Now, guys, for the entire MCQ, so in the exam, like usually they have the exam in Aquinas Hall. So, so when the exam starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, so they give you the paper, and like both MCQ and SBA paper will be given together. Right? They are not given separately. Both MCQ and SBA paper, they are given together, and you are given 2.5 hours. You can spend these 2.5 hours the way you like. The way you like, you can spend this 2.5 hours, right? So some students, they start with the MCQ paper, some students start with the SBA paper. But guys, I give you a strong recommendation for your own benefit. Start with the SBA paper, start with the single best answer paper. So then you will effectively utilize these 150 minutes. So always start with the single best answer paper. Why? That's a morale booster. It's a morale booster. You give an injection of morale, confidence to yourself. Because guys, confidence is the thing that we need in the exam. If you are confident, even the ones that you are not sure, you will get it somehow, reason out, you will get the power to reason out and come to conclusions, and you will make it or get it correct. So you start with the single best answer paper and effectively utilize these 150 minutes. How are we going to do that? How are we going to achieve that? Now, every single best answer question you can take about 2.5 minutes. So, guys, I strongly advise you read the question carefully. So, I told you I will be telling you the SBA techniques. So, my recommendation, guys, this is not my recommendation. I was also at your level. I was also a medical student. After being a medical student, climbed the ladder, became a HO, senior house officer, registrar, senior registrar, a fellow, and then only became a consultant, and now consultant and a board certified consultant and examiner for undergraduate, postgraduate exams. Guys, when we climb this ladder, like you all, I was also in your state. I also have the same difficulties that you guys faced. I know that. I'm not a Superman, right? So now, when you get these single best answer questions, guys, there's a technique which I use as a medical student in our postgraduate exams, MD exam. So I use this in my MBBS exam. I use this in my MD exam. I use this in my MRCP exams, MRCP UK, MRCP London. All that we have used these techniques, right? And also American College of Physician exams. Guys, what is that technique? So this is not only my technique, because I can't invent a technique. No, this is a technique which is known to so many other, the stalwarts in medicine, the professors and big profs, big teachers have taught this to us. What is that? Scanning and skimming technique. Guys, some of you all would have done IELTS exam, don't you? You know the IELTS English exam? Have you done it? Okay, you would have heard of it. Now, in this IELTS exam, English exam, there's a method. Now, there's listening, reading, writing, and speech component. So, in that reading component, they never want you to read the entire thing. They never want you to read the entire passage. What they want is to scan and skim the passage. So, it's called scanning. Your eyes go like this and pick the important things. Guys, same technique we use in the single best answer paper. Same technique. This is not a my invented method, but a method which is used by professors and big stalwarts in internal medicine, right? The big shots. So I also use that, and I really excelled in that. And I teach all my students this method, which is a wonderful method. Even my postgraduate trainees, I teach this method. What is that? First, glance through the answers. What is the word that I use? Glance through the answers. We call it glance through the answers. So you just superficially read, superficially glance the answers. First, you don't even read the question. You just have a look at the answers, the 5 answers that they have given. You just glance through that, right? You just superficially read the answers, first of all. So once you read the answers, you get an idea what area they are testing. Because guys, there may be certain questions you can't even think what system they are asking the question about. Some questions may be really difficult. You have no idea, right? What they're asking about. Maybe cardiovascular system, maybe about infectious diseases, maybe some septic focus, or maybe respiratory system. Sometimes it's really difficult. But when you read the 5 answers, first of all, in the single best answer paper, then you know what area they are questioning about. And you know what the answers they have given. Because if you read the question, right, you keep on, without doing my method, if someone is going to read the question first of all, and then try to arrive at the answers, you know the danger. You will read the question and you arrive at an answer which is not given in the answer sheet. Is the ID point? No, then you have to redo the question. So just glance through. You don't waste time on reading these answers, 5 answers. Just glance through the 5 answers and get an idea what they're asking, and then go and read the question. Then your mind is already focused. Guys, this is a mind game and also time game. Mind game and time game. So it's a different ball game altogether. So glance through the answers and then go and read the question. And when you are reading the single best answer question, the important things you need to underline. Maybe underline important things in blue, and the most important component, or what you call the clue of the question, you underline in red. Because can you remember when I did my lectures, do my lectures, I always tell you, underline this in red. Is the starting or is the clue in this question. You have to start building from that point onwards. So that's very important. Underlining the important concepts in that single best answer question. So read the answers first and then go and do the question. That is the best method of approaching single best answer questions. Right? So every question, guys, you read very well. You have plenty of time, guys. It's not difficult at all. By 2.5 minutes, you can take for one question. 2.5 minutes for each question. So if you take 2.5 minutes for each question, like you can finish the entire 25 questions in about 1 hour. That is roughly in about 60 minutes. Right? All 25 questions you can finish in about roughly the period of 1 hour. So within 60 minutes, you finish the entire single best answer paper. Now, guys, when you are doing a question, another technique. Guys, today I told you this is not subject matter. This is purely how to pass the exam. It is even more important than listening to a lecture. It's more important than tonight we are having a great lecture that is neurology by DC. But what I'm telling is, this is what I'm teaching now is even more important than lecture. It's really important. So when you are doing the single best answer paper, say you are doing question number 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is a difficult one. You really don't know what it is. Just leave that aside. Leave question number 4 and then go to question number 5. Don't waste time on question number 4. Why? It's a time game. So don't waste time on that difficult question. Go to the next question. But guys, we have realized, we have seen so many students make more mistakes in answering the answer sheet. Now, see, if you skip question number 4, right? If you skip the question number 4, in the answer sheet that you get, the next day I will show you answer sheet, true answer sheet. In the answer sheet also, you have to keep that question number 4 blank. Because some students, they panic so much, Question number 5, they skip the question number 4, but the question number 5, they go and answer where you have left that, or you answer that in the space of question number 4. Guys, you might even laugh at me when I'm telling these things, but these are things which has happened to students. Through experience, I'm telling this. Then they come and appeal, say, sir, I'm so sorry, we had a problem like this. No point, guys. Once you answer the paper, that's it. Even if you cry or if you show a poison bottle and say that I'm going to drink this, I'm going to commit suicide tonight, no, it won't change. Right? So very important. If you skip a question to attempt to that question later on, please skip that particular question in the answer sheet also. Don't answer there. Make sure you do like that. Right. So single best answer paper, you take about 2.5 minutes for each question and finish the whole paper in about 60 minutes or 1 hour. See, I have done the calculation for you. Look at this. Very important. Guys, you need to keep a wristwatch right in front of your desk. You keep the wristwatch right in front of your table, exam table. Right. So you keep the wristwatch and then you can see every 15 minutes how the clock runs. Right? So in the first 15 minutes, you should have finished 6 single best answer questions. This is very important, guys. Actually, close to the exam, you will worship me for giving this slide presentation. You will even worship me for this. Because close to the exam, you realize the importance of this. Right. So first 15 minutes, guys, you finish 6 single best answer questions. And when the clock comes to 30 minutes, so 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30. By 9:30, you should finish 12 questions. Guys, there may be difficult questions at the beginning. You may be struggling and struggling and struggling. And say, by 30 minutes, now you look at the clock. Oh my God, I have answered only 4 questions. But Lalindra asks us to answer how many? 12. I haven't done that. Stupid Lalindra. I have not achieved the target. Right? So then guys, you need to hurry up. You need to expedite yourself. You need to speed up. So that's very important because when the bell rings, you can't cry or do anything. They will collect the paper and go, and very likely you will fail the exam. Don't let that happen. So go according to this time scale. Guys, the intelligent students, they use these methods. They use these methods to pass exams, right? I mean, intelligent student does not mean a bookworm. Some students, they keep cramming, and studying like nothing from morning to night. They study, but still fail exams. Why is that? They do not know how to effectively utilize their knowledge in the exams. Okay. So this is so important. Every 15 minutes, you should be answering at least 6 questions. So by 30 minutes, 12 questions, and the next 30 minutes, you finish next 12 questions, and just another 2.5 minutes for the last 25th question. So like that, so in 1 hour, roughly in about 1 hour, you finish 25 single best answer questions. So only 1 hour you have taken. You have another 1.5 hours left. That means another 90 minutes left. And then we are going to utilize for the MCQ paper. So how are we going to do that, guys? In the MCQ paper, every question you can take 3 minutes. Every question you can take 3 minutes for a question in the MCQ paper. So MCQ paper, you finish the paper, if you take 3 minutes, 3 into 25 is 75. So you finish the paper in 75 minutes, that means 1 hour and 15 minutes. And still, guys, you took 1 hour for the single best answer paper, 1 hour and 15 minutes for the MCQ paper, another 15 minutes left. See, guys, how much of confidence you will get. This is the pattern that you have to adapt to. Please stick to this pattern. Right? When we are doing question papers also, please stick to this pattern. So keep that balance 15 minutes for you to go through the second round. Like whatever the question that you have missed earlier, whatever the question that you have skipped earlier, you might try to attempt them in the second round. That for that you have 15 minutes. Because if a student is going to continue their first round even until the bell rings after 2.5 hours, that student is very likely to fail the exam. Very likely to fail the exam, because a student who is struggling for 2.5 hours means he's not having enough knowledge. For that, you should read. Right. So MCQ paper. So MCQ paper, I told you there are 90 minutes. So 3 minutes for each question. So that means ample time, guys. 3 minutes means quite ample time for every question. So read carefully. And MCQs, there's another technique. What is the technique? Now MCQ. Which of the following are true regarding decompensated cirrhosis? Oh, that is one. Then they also say following are characteristic features of decompensated cirrhosis. So which are, so they say recognize features of decompensated cirrhosis. So they use these words: recognize, characteristic, diagnostic, suggest the diagnosis, true of, like that. Guys, these words are the most important. Why students struggle in this MCQ paper? Not because they lack knowledge, because they struggle with these English words: characteristic, diagnostic, suggest the diagnosis, recognize, like that. It's so important. When we are doing the papers, I always emphasize, guys, I tell you, this is only a recognized feature, but not a characteristic feature. I have been teaching like that. I hope you can remember that. Right. Now, say for example, I say distal, like recently finished our rheumatology lectures. I told now say we say recognize features of rheumatoid arthritis. Recognize features of rheumatoid arthritis. They say A, proximal interphalangeal joint involvement. B, they say distal interphalangeal joint involvement. Right? So recognize. So if the word recognize is there, A is true because proximal interphalangeal joints are the most important. But also rarely in rheumatoid arthritis, distal interphalangeal joints can be affected. Rarely. So therefore, when you use the word recognize, that even B becomes true. Now again, the same question they are giving like this. Characteristic features of rheumatoid arthritis are. Characteristic features of rheumatoid arthritis are A, proximal interphalangeal joint involvement. B, distal interphalangeal joint involvement. Then guys, A becomes a correct response because it's proximal interphalangeal, but the B becomes a wrong response. So B is false at that time. So see, just that English word made A, first one A and B both became true, but because of that English word characteristic, A became true and B became false. See the difference. See the difference. So it's so important that you read the stem of the MCQ very effectively, very carefully. So in this stem, Please underline that English word in red. Characteristic, recognize, seen in, diagnostic. Please underline that or encircle that. That should stick in your brain, right? It's so important. And guys, when you answer in the MCQs, 1 A, B, C, D, E, right? Now, so you are going through A, true, B, true. We say it's a recognized one. C, you are not sure. Oh, it's like true, but I'm not sure. I think so. C, they say, C as the response C, recognize features of rheumatoid arthritis. They say as the response C, lymphadenopathy, right? They say lymphadenopathy. Oh, yes, I'm not sure. Recognized. Oh, it must. Lalindra has taught something like that also. I can't remember. Oh my God, what's this? And now you are in half-hearted situation. You are in doldrums. You are not sure. Sorry, you are not sure. But you think it looks like a true response, but not sure. You think it looks like a true response, lymphadenopathy, but you are not sure. What you are going to do is you leave that C. So what I do is what I teach my students. So A, B, C, D, E. So in front of response C, you encircle that response C. You put a circle in the question paper. In your question paper, you encircle response C. And there you put a query mark and put T. Why? You thought it must be a true response. You're not sure, but you think it must be true, but you're not sure. So you put query T mark. Query question mark and T for later reference. You skip that particular response C and go to question response D. T is very easy. D, they are saying temporomandibular joint involvement, and you know it's definitely there. So it's true. And E again is very sure one. Say they are saying complicated by fibrosing alveolitis. Yes, it's recognized. That's true. So in that particular question, A, B, D, E, you have answered beautifully with confidence. But C, you are not sure. But you think it is true, but you're not 100% sure. So you encircle that, put a question mark and put T in the question paper, not in the answer paper. Answer paper, you skip that. Right? And guys, now after finishing, so like that, you go question by question, right? And don't stagnate in one question. That's the correct word, guys. Don't get yourself stagnated in a question. If you stagnate yourself in a question, you are wasting time. This 3 minutes per question is very important, right? So MCQ paper also I have given a time scale. What is the time scale? Look at this. So every question, every 15 minutes you should be finishing 5 MCQs. Single best answer paper, every 15 minutes you should be doing 6 single best answer questions. And the MCQ paper, you should be doing 3 MCQs, at least 3 MCQs every 15 minutes. So that means every 30 minutes you should be finishing 10 MCQs. Every 30 minutes you should be finishing 10 MCQs. So you watch the clock. So now 9 o'clock they gave the paper. Now by 10 o'clock you have finished 25 single best answer questions. Now 10:30, so you have finished 10 MCQs. Now it's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock you have finished the 20 MCQs. And now 11:30 they are going to collect the papers, but 11:15 you have finished all 25 MCQs. You're so happy. Why? You have finished the paper in right on time. If a student usually finishes the exam right on time with confidence, that student is going to pass the exam. Through experience, I'm telling that. Right? I mean, one student can finish single best answer. They can answer about five questions and MCQs also 5 and finish the paper in about half an hour. That's not what I'm saying. Going through all 25 MCQs, all 25 SBS with confidence, with adequate number of responses. If you have finished by 2 hours and 15 minutes, that means very likely that student is going to pass that exam brilliantly because of that confidence component. So this time frame is so important, guys. It is very valuable. It's even more valuable than a lecture. So every 30 minutes, you should be finishing 10 MCQs. And guys, this is a golden statement that I have given here. What is this? Answer only the very sure ones, which is like black and white. Answer the very sure ones. Half-hearted ones, doubtful ones, please don't try to attempt. Half-hearted ones, doubtful ones, please don't try to attempt. Right? You should not be answering those. So that's why I have mentioned no guessing, please. There's no guessing. Right? Please don't do that. Don't do any guesswork. Right? Now, if you are in a really hopeless situation, the guesswork you can do only in the balance 15 minutes in the second round. But what we suggest is that I use a term for that, guys. In all my classes, I used to use this term. What is that? Greedy round. Greedy round. Pereta round. Right? Greedy round or Pereta round. Why? You definitely uh, dig your graveyard in that second round. Why? You are greedy. You are trying to increase the number of responses to 95 or 100, and most of the time you are just guessing and answering, and you are getting them wrong. Right? You are getting them wrong most of the time. So don't try to do a lot of guesswork. That's why, guys, you need to read these lecture notes. Read the lecture notes, then you can easily get this magic 95 out of 125 responses. Because why? I'm not asking you to answer all 5 responses in a question, just 4 out of 5. If you answer 4 out of 5 for all 25, you score how much? 100. My God, that's brilliant. Even good for a merit pass from the MCQ paper alone. So whatever the very sure was, straight away transfer to the answer sheet. Now, see, for example, the question that we did not rheumatoid arthritis, A, B, D, E, 100% sure. No? So straight away, you transfer the answers to answer sheet. A, B, D, E. You have marked them true. C, you are not sure. So C, you have left alone. So, guys, as I told you before, another 15 minutes left for you to go through the whole SBN MCQ paper again. But in that 15 minutes, don't just go tuck tick took like type of, some people do tuck tick took type of, this is true, this is false, this is true, this is false, this is true, this is false. Some people have been answering like that. I know the students, those, because in the exam what they have done. Right? So that's why I'm telling these things. I'm sharing some exam experience. Right. So that's all about the exam. How to answer the exam, how to time utilize the exam, how to do this mind game and the exam, how to effectively answer the exam. Guys, it's so important. I don't know whether you have ever thought about these slides. The information that I given is super important. Not only medicine, for all the subjects, surgery, gynecology, pediatrics, anything you can use this. This is 100% effective. Trust me. Keep you entrust me. I give you that guarantee. Right. So, what is the preparation required to achieve this, goal in our Erpm exam? That is another very important thing that you need to know. Because now this year there's one exam going to happen, that is in September, Erpm exam. So, but also for the junior students, that is the 5th years, 4th years, 3rd years, 2nd years, 1st years, they also should know how to focus on this exam and how to achieve that target when they come back to Sri Lanka. Right? So what is the preparation required? This preparation is also preparation for, PLAB or AMC or what. Right. Guys, this is again a tested and proved. So there are things called educational methods, medical education. It's a separate field. Like we have internal medicine, we have pediatrics, like gynecology, like that. There's a separate field called medical education. So there's a department of medical education. Now each medical faculty, they have a medical education department. So it's called medical education and research, MEDA. So that medical education, in that they do this research. What are the effective methods of teaching students? What are the effective methods of approaching exams? What are the effective methods of getting prepared for exams? These things they teach students. So that's why I'm sharing this experience. So studying around the question is the tested and proven most effective method. Please remember this. Studying around the question. See, for example, one student opens the Kuma and Clark book from chapter 1 to chapter 15 or what. Then again, nodding like this on the book. Then again, wash your face. Again, nodding. Haven't you experienced this? You haven't experienced? Oh, that means you must be super brilliant. I, of course, have experienced that as a student. Guys, this happens. This happens to everyone. This happens to everyone. So don't just go by that method. What is that? Some students think they will read the whole book first, right? They are going to read the entire Kumar and Clark internal medicine book or textbook of medicine by Kumar and Clark or Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine first, or even our lecture notes. My lecture notes, the teacher's lecture notes, they are going to read the whole, everything in the lecture note first, and then not read, study and memorize, and then they are trying to go to the questions. Not that much effective. It also can be done. That is also method, but guys, very difficult, boring. Right now, for the most effective method is you study around the question. So I give plenty of questions in my lectures. You have seen the amount of questions that I have discussed, right? That's super, guys. Like, I don't think anyone would discuss this amount of questions, right? So we do lots of MCQs, we do lots of single best answer questions. So when we take a question, guys, you read the question, and you see what areas have been questioned around that question. What areas have been questioned around that. So even if you take that simple question on rheumatoid arthritis, so they have asked for the critical features of rheumatoid arthritis. So do you take that question and then you go and, okay, how are the joint involvements in rheumatoid arthritis? What about this lymphadenopathy thing? I can't remember that. I think I got it wrong. Let me go and read that. There we go. Lalitra has told, in a relapse of rheumatoid arthritis, you can get lymphadenopathy. You also can get splenomegaly. Is splenomegaly associated with rheumatoid arthritis and neutropenia? You call it Felty syndrome. So that's the effective method of reading, guys. It's super important for the junior students. What I'm telling now, you take a question, you read the question, and just see the responses, what they have questioned. They are giving true responses, they are giving false responses. But all those are facts. You go and read around that. You go and read. So you take the question, you take my lecture note, and you just go through the areas that I have covered pertaining to that question. Guys, that is the most effective method of study. Most effective method of study. And if you are 50 or 40 or 30 or like below that, then you have world of time until the next exam. So what you can do is you take a big CR book. I think I have mentioned somewhere. Next slide. Yeah, next the third slide I am telling that. So you take a big book, CR book or something like that, and don't be stingy on the pages that, oh, I mean, CR book is maybe 200 rupees or something like that. Don't be stingy on that, because if you fail the exam, you are losing 20,000, 50, 20,000, 25,000 like that for a subject. So therefore, that 200 rupees is nothing. So therefore, guys, you take one full page for one question. So then you have plenty of things to add on to that page. So you make your own short note. It's so important. It's a very effective method of learning. Guys, I'm teaching you these study techniques. It's so important, right? Right? These are study techniques tested and proven ones in the medical education programs. So read around the question. So you take a single best answer question or MCQ and then read the responses and try by yourself. Can I answer this question? Get it wrong, fine. You are not sitting for the exam immediately. I mean, get the question wrong. That's fine. No one is going to penalize you. But guys, always remember, failures are the pillars of success. We all got it wrong. Even when I was a student, I got it wrong. That's why I'm in this level now, right? So we all have made mistakes in our life. We all have made errors in our life. Some people forget that they have made errors in their lives. But I always remember that I have made mistakes in my life. So through those mistakes, only we better read and we learn. So always read around those wrong questions. See where you went wrong in that question and read around that. Very important. Okay. And also, guys, another method that we use is sticky pads. You know, there's small sticky pads. You call it post-it. All of you all have that too. Those nice colored post-it sticky pads. Buy that. It's really useful, right? So where you are studying, you just, or the where you have done the question. So in that question on rheumatoid arthritis, you just paste this sticky pad. In that very small letters, you have written clinical features of rheumatoid arthritis in point form. You have written it, right? So it's another very useful method, like put in these sticky pads or post it. on your lecture note with very important vital information on that. So the theory part you will write there and paste it. And also, guys, if you get a question correct, don't be in a panic phase. Don't think, oh, I know this, what this question is around. Don't think like that. Guys, that question might come up in a different form, different manner, and that might be difficult for you. Therefore, even if you get a question correct, still read around it. It's very important. Still read the relevant area around it. And guys, what I have mentioned is if you need reference, I mean, my lecture notes, it's a promise that I have given, right? It's a promise I have given. My lecture notes, 100% stuff is there, but they ask the exam. If you find anything not there, lecture notes plus the question notes. Lecture notes, some areas that we can't cover in lecture note, we put in the questions. Now, say for example, endocrinology lecture. Pheochromocytoma, I have put it in my question paper. So that somehow I cover. So I need my lecture note or in my question notes, we have covered all those things. So that is a very good reference, an excellent reference, because that lecture note I have made in a very easily understood manner, in point form. When you just glance through that question paper, you can understand everything that I have taught you. And as a reference, you also can use Oxford Pocket Handbook of Clinical Medicine. Oxford Pocket Handbook, this is a small book, no? It's very cheap, I think. Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine, Pocket Handbook, small one which you can put even in your trouser pocket or a lab coat pocket. Oxford Pocket Handbook of Clinical Medicine. Or if you really want, you can use the Kumar Clark, but don't read Kumar Clark from page 1 to page 1400 or something like that. You will end up becoming a psychiatric patient because you have only a short period to study, and in that you can't be reading the whole book. That's why I always say question-based learning. Question-based learning is the most effective method. Read around the question. Even my postgraduate trainees, I always tell them, read around the question. You will be a very successful person. And you remember things when you do like that. So what is the preparation required, guys? So if you are first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, before going through the for the juniors, because the graduated ones, those who are sitting for the exam in September, they can't do this again. They have done it because they were prepared for the exam since last December, so they have done all these things. So if you are in these years, what you could do is you just first read the lecture note, my lecture note. You just go through them. I'm not asking you to by heart and memorize things. Just read. Right? Like that. Just read it. You read it and try to understand. Don't try to memorize things. Because guys, why I'm telling like that is because in my lecture, I go to the grassroots level and explain for even a below average student to understand. So when you hear my lecture, and then if you just go through that paper, lecture note, within 2 to 3 days, I strongly recommend within 2 to 3 days. Why? Most of the things that you have got into your brain will get nicely registered and retained in your brain within the first 2 to 3 days if you read. So guys, in psychiatry lectures, we teach this. That is, when it comes to memory, this has been questioned also in one of the Erpm papers, single best answer question. There are three components of memory. What is that? Registration, retention, and recall. 3R. 3Rs. Registration, retention, and recall. So registration is learning new information. So when I'm giving a lecture, you are hearing new information and you are absorbing that. That is called registration. Right? And then the next important is whatever you learn as new information, you retain in your brain. That's called retention. So guys, when I give a lecture, you register things in your brain, right? Particularly in your temporal lobes of the brain. Then guys, this has to retain. So for retention, to retain information. So that is why guys, I'm telling this guys, I beg you, you do this. What is this? The lecture that I do. So now tonight I'm going to start on neurology, very important lecture. And I made that neurology easy like nothing. Because I've been appointed even by the Ceylon College of Physicians to teach neurology for the registrars. So like It's one of my great areas where I really make it easy for the students. The difficult neurology. So when I teach that lecture, please revise. Just go through, just read it once more within 2 to 3 days of my lecture. So if I do today and tomorrow lecture, like today and tomorrow lecture, you should finish just quickly reading it by about say Thursday, Friday or Saturday. Before Saturday, Friday or Saturday, you just go through that. Then your retention power will be better. So you retain that memory. And also, guys, that will help you to recall. So then after a few weeks, like you recall. And during this recall process, what you do is you make your own friends. Obviously, you all are having enough friends. If you have your girlfriend or boyfriend, you just talk. Ah, Machan, you can't call your girlfriend Machan, no, sorry. So you call your girlfriend as your fiance or what. Lali taught something like this, like, can you remember that? Now, you are teaching someone. That's a very important method, right? So it's very important that you are teaching someone. So you are teaching your own girlfriend or boyfriend or your friends. Machan Lali taught like this in rheumatoid arthritis, they recognize features. Can you remember this? He taught about proximal interphalangeal joint, then metacarpophalangeal joint. Then he told about the occasional distal interphalangeal joints can be affected. He told that it can involve the cervical atlantoaxial joints. Do you remember? Then the other friend says, yes, Machang. He told like this, yes, it's very unlikely that rheumatoid arthritis affect the lumbosacral spine that will be affected by ankylosing spondylitis. That's a nice, healthy discussion rather than talking about some, useless stuff like maybe politics in the world or something like that. You are talking about some effective thing. Guys, use this method. Please, I beg you, you do this. So whatever I taught you, you just read and then you discuss with your friends. Over the phone, you can do that too. You don't have to go to their house and do the. If you go to their house, you will be doing some other things, not actually discussing subject matter. So, so, so discuss that over the phone. Can you remember that what he told us? And whatever doubts you had got, you can even discuss with your friend. And not only that, guys, you can always text me WhatsApp message. I mean, I will not answer immediately because of a lot of busy work, but even the next day, like I will answer that question, right? So you can always clear your doubts by asking me. So you always question yourself, you teach yourself, teach others, discuss with others. Then your the ability to retain memory will be more. So that's very important, a very effective method of learning. The last slide. The last slide, in the last slide, I had tried to mention. So the how to improve your memory, remembering things. Do you have problems of remembering things? If have you got problems of memory? We all had, isn't it? I also had as a student. Like I mean, though I am in this level at one of the highest levels in the country, but still I had problems. We all were students. We all had playful time, but we had problems in our memory. That's why including Lalindra Dias had problems on memory. Right. So how can you improve yourself? We have to find ways of improving our memory and passing exams wonderfully. So what is that? I suggest you don't think of little bit of money for a text for a book, CR book or monitor exercise book or something like that. So buy a big CR book for each subject, right? A big one. But make sure there are some students those who steal books. During our times also it has happened. Now also it's happening. I know in classes some students steal books. So don't give your book to anyone. You have to keep it very carefully, right? So, so keep a separate big CR book, and you must write your own short notes in there. So rheumatoid arthritis, because you are doing question-based learning. So when you read that question, around that question, you jot down important information there. You can take some post-it sticky pads and some paste it also there. You write down important thing and paste it there. You can color these things. And guys, please, please, please do this. What is that? Please draw flow charts. Well, say, for example, if you say something like this. So whatever the lecture that we do, so I'll just show you that now. Yeah. Now, see, for example, I'll take an example. Uh, we'll take something like, so we were talking about rheumatoid arthritis. We'll talk about management of rheumatoid arthritis, right? Management of RA. So you write your own short forms. Management of RA, right? Management in mix short form. Management of rheumatoid arthritis. So you say investigation. So you do a ESR high, CRP high. Then you go and do the rheumatoid factor or anti-CCP antibody, which will be positive, right? CP antibody or the rheumatoid factor, which will be positive. So this is the diagnostic pathway. So once you start once you diagnose, so look at these guys. So once you diagnose rheumatoid arthritis by this, then you start the most effective drug. What is that? The DMARDs, disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. So you write here DMARDs. So you know demarks, you can use different colors, guys. I'm just showing you how to make a flow chart, how to make diagrams in your when you are how to make diagrams when you are studying. Right? So you write here MTX, methotrexate, leflunomide. Then also you have so demarks plus here you write biological agents. Biological agents. Okay, so then now you have written methotrexate here. Now methotrexate is a very important drug for our internal medicine. Why? They have their own complications. So you can use a different color and methotrexate related problems. What is that? They can cause hepatitis. So you write here, you have to AST, ALT levels. AST, ALT, right? It can cause folate deficiency. So you write here folate. You are not writing big sentences. You have to do folate levels, or sorry, you have to combine folic acid treatment with methotrexate. You don't write sentences like that. Short forms, folate, hepatitis. Then you just write one word, but from that you know what we are thinking about. That's about, because when you start on methotrexate, you also have to give folic acid treatment. Otherwise, they can end up with folic acid deficiency, which can cause macrocytic anemia. And hepatitis, you have to monitor AST and ALT when you start on methotrexate therapy. Like that, guys. You see this. So see, the entire rheumatoid arthritis management and this important complication is here. And biological agents, what is the important? 2-HSTXA. So when you write CXR, you know why we do HSTXA. Why? We know if you start on biological agents, they can precipitate pulmonary TB. So that's why you do a prior chest X-ray. See, guys, I think this is a wonderful thing that I gave you. I didn't give you any subject matter, no subject matter, because this you can utilize for medicine, surgery, gynecology, anything, pediatrics. This is a very useful thing. Study technique. Study techniques are more important, guys. Right? You might be in my class, you might be in someone else's class. It doesn't matter. But I am doing a great service for you all by teaching you these methods of study, because I want all of you to pass the exam. Pass the exam in one go and become good doctors, be productive to the society, and do your postgraduates. Because in our classes, our students have even now gone into register levels, and some of them have reached senior register level also, like my very early first, second class students. Right, guys. So these are some study techniques that I taught you. Okay, so make flow charts, very important, and also diagrams, make tables. So I always give you these tables, which flow charts when I'm using lectures. I'm doing showing you a lot of pictures, diagrams. That's the specialty in my classes. I always use a lot of PowerPoint presentations, a lot of pictures, because when you see audio visual, what you hear, you're also visualizing. Then your memory is better. So I try to help students in that regard. So teach yourself, always take a flow chart and teach yourself from this. So see how easy this is. Entire rheumatoid arthritis management is here. Rather than reading the lecture like this, blah, 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 like that, what happens? After some time, you will be sleeping on the lecture room. But when you write something like this, you have done something. Your hand is working, your eye is working, then and you are verbalizing. Then three organs are working and you don't feel sleepy. And also it's very interactive. So, and the other most important thing is, guys, whenever you study something and when you remember, you try to be happy, try to be confident. Oh, I know about Robert, I'm right, super champion. Connectivity tissue diseases, I'm done. I'm complete with it. I can teach anyone. And you always share your knowledge with your friends. Always try give and take. You share your knowledge with your friends. Be happy, be confident. And guys, if you do like this, trust me, someday you will say, Lalindra sir, you have done the huge thing for my whole life. Trust me, you will come and tell me if you remember me. So you will be the hero of your victory. All right. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys in this lecture: how to approach ERPM medicine exam and how to prepare for ERPM medicine theory exam. There's nothing more to tell in this one. Everything I have covered. How to do the exam well, in the exam, effective exam tricks, and also the study techniques and study skills. All that I have covered in this lecture. Right. So I hope this would have helped you hugely and greatly benefited for all of you, for all the subjects, not just medicine, for all the subjects. Because that's why I thought I will do this general lecture, because that's so important, particularly for the juniors. I will try to keep this, post this YouTube video in your groups also, so you can watch at other times and learn study techniques. Very important, right? Uh, okay, so thank you very much, guys, for participating in this lecture. And so tonight, just a kind reminder, tonight we'll be starting our ERPM medicine session 2. We had a wonderful session 1. Students were almost, they are down their knees when I finished my lecture, so they were so happy. Some of the students, they have not heard of me, but I have been lecturing for the last 14 years. But what I'm telling is, so I don't promote myself that much. So anyway, so tonight we are starting session 2. So whoever not joined, because we are doing a wonderful session 2, because that covers neurology, and also hip students, those who did not come for the live classes prior to the corona season. That is, in session 4 we will be covering cardiovascular system, respiratory system, nephrology, nephrology and acid base balance, and also gastroenterology and hepatology. Right. Thank you very much. You have a good day. See you in the evening, sharp at 7 o'clock, with a very interesting and very exciting neurology lectures. Goodbye.